Is that me or you? All right, weekend sports betting tips on the Barroom Network. I'm Tooch. We got our award-winning professional handicapper Sean Higgs here. Anthony's out sick. We talk a little college football week 6, NFL week 5. After 6 weeks of college football, we should have plenty of data what these teams are. I know their alignment has kind of thrown a little wrench into that, but we got a few games tonight we'll talk about and a bunch of games tomorrow. I don't really like the schedule this weekend. I don't think there's a lot of great games, anything. The numbers all look real sharp to me. I don't know if there's a lot of edge. And then the NFL slate tomorrow, I feel about the same way. How about you?
Well, it's not like I guess I understand about the conferences, right? It's like it's Michigan and Washington. You're thinking, what is this, Rose Bowl game? No, now it's a Big Ten game.
Right.
It's still a decent matchup. I mean, they'll I guess there's thunder involved because it's like, oh, you got a ranked team here. And I understand. No, it's not like I look at it as the way you're saying it, because of with the expanded playoffs, there's no urgency. Michigan can lose again. You got 2 losses, you can still get in the playoffs because you're Michigan, right? You can get in Oregon's got Ohio State next week. Now, normally last year, that game would have determined one of these guys maybe get in. They have to run a table to win their championship to get in the playoff. Now, it's just a game. They'll get in with a loss or two because 4 or 5 teams are coming out of the Big Ten and the SEC. So I understand what you're saying. No, it's kind of flat in that kind of regard. And me too, I don't get all excited. I mean, I have – how many games do I have here in college this weekend? 3, 6, 9, 10, dozen games going. I just look at for the number to find, and I'm going to attack it. I don't really worry about the team names. Can't get it. People. That's the way they think. Oh, well, Michigan's they're ranked, they're getting points. Well, more reason to love Washington, I guess. You can't get wrapped up into a ranking number or a team name. That's not what it's about.
Yeah, we got Michigan State at Oregon tonight, another Big Ten game. And like you said, Oregon's got Ohio State next week, so they're looking ahead. I mean, it might as well jump to that one. Where's my banner?
And what did you see at Michigan State? Quarterback plays so. They got a new quarterback, a new coach. They're going to play with a little defense. And Oregon, are they really going to come out here and run it up to a 55 spot to win by 20? This game could be 44-20 and you cover by half a point. It's not one I want to get involved in with a big game on deck. I mean, maybe a first half look, right? Oregon maybe come out, play strong at home first, dictate the game, and then let's just get out of here in one piece. Big matchup next week. But also, like I just said earlier, is it that big of a matchup? Who cares? I mean, obviously you don't want to lose by 50, right? I mean, you want a battle like, Georgia got down early. They came back, took a lead. Yeah. You don't want to lose crazily to a team, but on the same thing, it's kind of like, is that even a thing anymore? We're going to have to wait and see. It's going to take a while to figure that one out, if it even matters to a look-at spot. Who cares if I lose? It doesn't make a difference.
Can we talk about that game a little bit last week, Alabama, Georgia? Yeah. Kalen DeBoer, they came out, Alabama punched Georgia in the mouth first half. It was all Alabama. Georgia mounted that great comeback. But Alabama, they stayed. I mean, if Kalen DeBoer would have lost that game, it would have been a totally different story in Tuscaloosa. But he showed he's a good coach, and he's really done great with Jalen Milroe. They're probably the Heisman Trophy leader, would you say?
Probably. I mean, why off a great performance like that? Obviously, you got the big win over Georgia. Cam Ward of Miami is going to have nothing. He'll have no big kind of win. I guess beating Clemson will be, but is it going to be that kind of game? For all we know, that game is going to be a 23-20 kind of game and not a sexy offensive flash kind of game. So I think it comes down to the pizzazz of a bigger matchup. Like he's going to have Ole Miss, right? I mean, that could be a shootout. That could be a wild one. Like, oh, they threw 5 touchdowns versus Ole Miss. Yeah, it was 47-40. I mean, so nobody plays defense. I get it. I mean, it's different than playing some 20-22 game. And, that's a game where I want to see the guy make the play and pull out and win the tough game. Like if you're in a pinball game, would any quarterback who's in a Heisman race put up those kind of numbers? Like that's the thing to that, all right? If you're playing in a 38-34 game and quarterbacks are throwing for 4 or 5 touchdowns, I'm pretty sure any kind of guy in the top 5 Heisman is going to have a good game in that scenario.
Yeah, and both these teams, Alabama and Georgia, both are coming off the emotional game. Georgia's at Auburn.
Yep.
And Alabama goes
Georgia's home. Georgia's home
versus Auburn, a homecoming game. And Alabama goes up to Nashville to play Vanderbilt. Now, both Alabama's over more than a 3-touchdown favorite in that game, and Georgia the same. They're both 22.5, point favorites. I thought I remembered Auburn giving one of those two teams a tough time.
They play Alabama kind of tough, but
they played Alabama tough last year.
Georgia, you're off a loss, and you look at this game. It was 28-0 out of the blink, right? Touchdown, you punt, touchdown, interception, touchdown, interceptions, fumble, safety. It's 30-7 or whatever.
Yep.
And you're like, what just happened here? Like, let's play our game, make a stop. So it's one of those things like, how much was that comeback for Georgia? We just have to kind of play prevent. I don't think college is like that. That's not the NFL where you get up and you kind of ease back a little bit. College, that is a rival, and DeBoer's got something to prove. He's the new guy. So let's give. I just don't know how much credit we give to Georgia, how much is to Alabama. A fast start, which is great, right? You got the turnover, touchdown, and you took it to them. But then you can't get a stop in the second half. That's not – you're playing Georgia. That's not Georgia State. That is Georgia. How don't you stop? So
not playing Vanderbilt either.
It'll be interesting, if they face each other in the championship game or maybe somewhere along the playoffs, how that game transpires.
SEC championship, yeah.
But for Georgia, though, you're off that loss. You're home. It's homecoming.
Yep. I love Georgia first half in this.
I'm going to say they haven't really covered. Is that all it is?
I think so.
I would think at this point the boosters and no guys are like, hey, we can bet on these games now. So can we get a dominant game here? Because you laid an egg versus Kentucky. Yep. You crushed us versus Alabama. I mean, you look terrible. Let's get a win here. So I expect Georgia to come out big first half, homecoming, and everybody's going to be drunk and party and have a good time. But you need that was a bad first half. You need to – as good as the second half was, you lost. So there's no – we sort of did okay.
Yeah.
Auburn struggled this year. I mean, you just see the Auburn numbers. It's not like it's a great team.
Right.
I mean, Cal came in.
Defense is solid on Auburn, but
Cal came into Auburn and beat Auburn.
Beat them. Yep.
All right. I mean, so let's not think Auburn is some on the cusp kind of team where we play teams tough.
Yeah.
Cal's a team that had nowhere to go. I mean, they're playing in the ACC now out of the Pac-10. Like nobody wanted them. That's what you're getting. You lost to Cal. Oklahoma, bad loss. I mean, where's the offense here? 14 at home to Cal, 14 at home to Arkansas, and Georgia just gave up 40 or whatever like they did. I'm sure that defense is not going to want to come out and stuff these guys. So I'm all for laying with Georgia here. Same with Alabama. They're just a better team.
Yeah, and 22.5 on the road at Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt, they have a close game at Mizzou last week, and opening week they were underdogs. Beat Virginia Tech outright.
2-touchdown dog. Yeah, that's one I don't want to get involved. Out of the two, I'd stay away from that one more because we're on the road as opposed to homecoming. A loss, you give up 38 or whatever you did. You look terrible in that game. So that would be Georgia would be my lean out of the two.
It is 13.5 first half because if it's 13.5, I'm probably going to be on that. Do you have a line on that one?
Let me pull one up.
I should have this. I'm sorry.
That's what happens. You start talking about gaming, you guys start
I
thinking
know.
like you don't have every line pulled up.
I
It's
don't have every line. I got all the games pulled up in college football insiders and stuff, but you know, as far as like a free play, if I were just
all right.
throwing one out,
Georgia's 13.5 first half.
I love that play. If they're not
And
taking it to Alabama in the first half, like you said, with all the boosters and alumni homecoming week,
and Alabama's 13 over Vandy. So 13.5. Get it done in the first half versus Auburn.
Yep. All right. Let's move on to the games, man. I've got a couple games tonight. This is an interesting matchup. Syracuse +6 at UNLV. Is it 6-9? This number's been all over the place. It was 4. I think it opened at 4.5.
With that the UNLV game?
Yeah, UNLV Syracuse.
Yeah,
so
like 3.5, 4. It's up to 6.
It's up to 6. A lot of UNLV love the original quarterback of UNLV, Sluka. He was like, I want more NIL attention, money, whatever it is. He left. Hodge Malik Williams comes in, throws 3 touchdowns, runs for another. He might be a better fit in the offense of UNLV. UNLV's defense is good too, but Syracuse is probably a little talent level that they haven't faced. A little better defense, a little better talent level. What are you thinking here? I mean, at 4.5. I mean, I'm on UNLV. If this goes to 6.5, 7, I'm on Syracuse here.
I like UNLV here, right? You have the Orange first road trip of the year, and you're coming to Vegas on a Friday. Like, come on, that's just a bad spot. And this is typical Syracuse. They start out good, and then they kind of slumber a little bit. UNLV didn't miss a beat, and I know the talk was like, well, if this guy was really so good, he would have been named a starter in the summer. Well, the other guy was. Let's be honest, this team was like, they're not going to be that good. They got a guy from Holy Cross quarterbacking. Well, they started undefeated, and he left, and this guy comes in, and he does even better than that guy. So let's give the coach some credit. Let's give the players who are still playing their credit. How about the offensive coordinator's got to get a little pat on the back, as well as the defensive guy. I mean, that wasn't even a game. It was like you looked up, it was 28-0, and that was like a Alabama jumping out to a big lead over Georgia in that game. Like UNLV jumped out to a big lead, and it was a good night, Irene. It was over. So I like UNLV. Why? It's October. It's October 4th. You're just finally leaving New York to go to Las Vegas.
Right. And Syracuse has Cal McCord, who was at Ohio State last year. Yeah. He's a quarterback in the Orange.
But you see the line 4-6. Yeah. And also, let's just remember that UNLV line, it was like a 3. It went down to like a pick. Like, oh, my goodness, this guy's gone. And it closed at like 2.5, 3 anyway. It went right back to where it was, and they won.
Yeah, 4-0, the running Rebels. Quality wins, too. They beat on the road at Kansas.
Yeah.
Nice win. They blew out Fresno 59-14. That was Hodge Malik Williams' first game.
Yep.
And Fresno's not really a terrible team. No. And then Syracuse, they lost at home to Stanford. And then their best wins probably Georgia Tech. After that, I mean, they played Holy Cross last week, right?
Yeah, 42-14 Holy Cross.
Yeah,
but you took out Georgia Tech, but come on, that was they beat Florida State on the road. They came home, Georgia Southern. You go on the road, and that was 31-28. It wasn't some. I mean, they had a lead in the fourth quarter. Georgia Tech scored late in there to make it a game, but.
So Syracuse coming across the country. You're still like UNLV at 6, right?
Yeah.
Actually,
UNLV win just by. I think they win by
5.5 right now. 5.5. But yeah, okay. With UNLV plus 5.5 for Sean. All right. We got this is a Big Ten game, right?
Yeah.
Michigan State at Oregon. I'm leaning under here. Look, both these teams have struggled to finish drives. Michigan State's 18 possessions inside the opposing 20-yard lane, only 7 touchdowns. And then I watched the Oregon game too, and I remember the drive down, they weren't getting any touchdowns. Man, it's like both teams like to run the ball. I'm gonna lean under here, 52.
I agree.
I agree. I think both the teams chewing clock. I doubt this gets to 52.
Yeah.
If I were to take 23.5 is a lot of points.
It would be under in state because, as you said, listen, 34-13 at
Yeah.
UCLA, 49-14 at Oregon State. I'll put Michigan State in that kind of boat offensively. Maybe they're a little better, but that offsets with them coming on the road. So I don't think they're Boise style offense. Like that was a game where, again, Oregon been big faves in their games, not really covering, but you want to take a dog here? You're getting almost 4 scores, right? With the 24, Oregon's going by 24. So 44-20. I don't think they score 44 points at Oregon. I don't think they get there. They did that once. That was against Oregon State, which is a rivalry, which are going to be kind of more pumped up to play. Come on, 35-13. I mean, this is under for sure. I mean, the 52 with a 23, it's a dog and under play for me.
Yep.
Yeah, at worst you're going to split. I know people say you take the over if you're taking a dog in those points. They're going to score. I don't know.
Oregon's defense is very good too.
Yeah.
Let's not lie here. Oregon's defense is really good.
And Michigan State has a defense.
Michigan State has a decent defense too. Dylan Gabriel, he's completed 8. I looked at the stats. So he completed 81% of his passes, 110 for 135, and 9 touchdowns and 1 interception. Can that be right? 81% of his passes.
Yeah, 110 for 135, 9 TDs.
Crazy.
Crisp. That's what they call crisp passing.
Yeah. Yep.
81%.
That's crazy. Oregon State wins the game. Michigan State covers. I don't think there's any chance of an upset here, Sean.
No.
Do you?
No.
Yeah.
Unless they really lay an egg like they did against Boise. I mean,
they're playing Ohio State. It's a look-ahead spot. But Dan Lanning's a good coach. He's not going to let the Ducks lose this game outright to Michigan State.
And again, he's a defensive kind of guy, too. He's doing a good job with the defense up there. So under 52.
Yep, under 52. Sean and I both on that. We got SMU at Louisville. SMU made the switch at quarterback from Preston Stone, who was good last year, to was it Kyle Jennings, I think his name is, and they look better. They're heading to Louisville to play Jeff Brom's Cardinals, who've been good defensively. I kind of like an under here too. Both teams good defenses.
I'm leaning with Louisville here because, again, here comes SMU.
Yep.
We were here the first time, right? We were talking about them, about Nevada. You're like, oh, you got to take SMU. I'm like, I don't know. It'd probably be a first half play in that game. They were 28-point favorites. They're losing the whole game. Yeah,
losing the whole game. Had to come back. Oh, it was what, week 0, week 1?
That was the week 0 game. Yeah. You beat Houston Christian or Houston Baptist, whoever they are, 59-7. You lost to BYU. Remember, I said to take BYU here. They were a 10-point favorite, and you lose outright 18-15.
Yep.
The team that plays a little defense.
Yep.
TCU is 66-42. Wild one. And then you just beat Florida State at home. So you're off of being a rival for all intents and purposes.
Florida State won a game this year?
Yeah, they beat Cal 14-9.
Okay. That's their only win, though, right, this year?
So, but let's look at it this way, though. You beat up on TCU, dropped to 66, and that's an in-state kind of rivalry game. Those are important games in Texas. You beat Florida State, who I don't care how down they are. It's still Florida State, and those guys might have not been recruited by Florida State. Like, you're not good enough to players. So that's a huge win. So you've just been in Texas for the last month, and now you're leaving. This is like Syracuse. This is your road trip.
Yep.
A month into the season.
Have they played any road games yet?
They were at Nevada to start the season.
Okay, they're at Nevada. That's right.
And they didn't do well there.
Yeah.
All right. So now you go to Louisville, who's off a tough kind of loss to Notre Dame.
Yeah. They played. That was a tough game for them.
These guys, 31-19 Georgia Tech. Then you got Jacksonville State and PA, which, they dropped 49-62. So those are just kind of we're paying for wins games. They could have beat Notre Dame. I'm going to go 6.5 here. And a lot of times I take that 6.5, right, Tooch? I'm always like, we just got to win by touchdown. I think Louisville has a better defense, probably a better team. And just the whole combination of Florida State, TCU, 100 points in 2 games, more than 100 points in those games. And now you're on the road. Louisville off the loss. Give me them to bounce back here at home.
Yep, I agree. All right, this is probably one of the better games. Missouri at Texas A&M.
Yeah.
Texas A&M has probably been one of the least impressive. What is this? Big 12?
SEC.
SEC. One of the least impressive SEC teams out there. They just barely got by Arkansas at home. They just barely got by Bowling Green. You know, they struggled
Florida
a little
too.
bit.
Florida.
Yeah,
It's they're 4-1, and we're knocking them for a loss at Notre Dame or home versus Notre Dame, where
Notre Dame. Yeah,
they were a dog. It went to a favorite based on the guy going out. And again, I like A&M in that spot. I'm like, hey, I got Notre Dame's quarterback, his coach on my team. I know what this guy's going to do. Good win for Notre Dame, and he saw Notre Dame. This is a pretty good team, Notre Dame.
Yeah,
let's not be on.
Great defense.
Notre Dame's not some patsy squad.
Yep.
But then you look at like Florida, it's kind of like, all right, 33-20, they cover. 26-8 Bowling Green was like an ugly game. Arkansas was an ugly game. You got all this money. They always get recruits in there, and you can't find a top flight QB.
Yeah.
Is that on them? How many top flight QBs are there? I mean, I know college you see guys put up good numbers.
I agree.
But not that I'm going to flip it to like the NFL style, but you see the poor play in the NFL. So
what's the team that got DJ Ugalele?
Florida State. He's on a bench.
Florida State, right? I mean, I was like, they're like, Florida State went out and tried to get one of the quarterbacks, and he ain't any good. So.
Come on, that guy, he's on his third team in 3 years, that tells you all you need to know if you're going all over the place.
Like, there aren't any great college quarterbacks. There aren't that many. You know, there just aren't. Yeah, I like the under in this game. Look, if you put up 21 points on Arkansas's defense. You know, both these teams run the ball. Like to run the ball. I know Missouri's got the quarterback and the receiver with Brody and Luther Burden, but I still like the under in this game.
We have another spot here. It's Missouri's first road trip, right? But on the flip side it's their bye week.
Brady Cook. What did I say?
Brady Cook. So they're coming off a bye, which I think kind of more helps them than a regular. It's, a different way to get prepared than a regular. Oh, we're home. We're going on a road.
So I mean, you like Texas A&M, huh?
No, I like Missouri here.
Missouri, okay, all right, yeah. I like the under in this game. Both these teams like to run the ball. Both these teams play a little defense. Sean likes Missouri plus the 2.5. Would you sprinkle on the money line there, or just take the money line outright?
Yeah, but listen, if you're getting 2.5, you want to go to 3. If we're in at 2.5, I think they're in it to win it. So
right. So let me ask you a question about lines like this when it's like 2.5, 6.5. They set these lines 7.5, 14.5. With a line like 2.5, they're begging you to take Texas A&M because it's just less than a field goal, right? So when you see, or if it's 7.5, is saying, I got to take the dog here because I'm getting a little more than a touchdown, or 13.5, I take the favorite. Just under 2 touchdowns. What do you think about when they set that line? Are they trying to trick us?
Listen, my thought on that. I always think at 2.5 and 6.5, I want the underdogs because they're like, you just got to win by field goal. You just got to win by. But sometimes I go against that. Like today, I like Missouri, I like Louisville in those kind of spots, and I just have to look, towards the reasoning why. Like other games, I'll say no, just because it's there. It's not like I'm automatically jumping on that game.
Right.
But if there's a reason, like the Missouri, I'm like, you know what? I'm coming out of a bye week. It's a little different situation hitting a road in a bye week spot, right? All you're doing is getting ready for Texas A&M that whole time. It's like, let's go. And A&M, as we said, like he has some kind of lackluster kind of wins, but the line reflects that at 2. It's even a 3. Like they're saying, we don't even believe in them to be a 3-point favorite at the 12th man, right? This is supposed to be a huge home field here, right?
At College Station,
right? And it's not even a field goal.
Then you're leaning dog.
Yeah.
Because I mean, look, the odds makers set these lines to entice people to bet the way that they want them to bet. Is that not true?
No.
Like you don't think so?
That's the perception. Like, hey, we need people to come. No.
Definitely the perception.
They set the line and then go at it. That's why the lines come out on Sunday. Not for the person watching Saturday. And
then they let the action decide the line.
And then they see where they're going with it. Then they move around. That's still, it's not like, the whole thing is like, we get 2-way action, we win. They don't care. 2-way action doesn't help them win if every guy's on one side because that's the sharper side or however you want the public side, however you want to word it. They don't want that. They're like 2-way action. No, they want to win. So they're not trying to come out with a bad line, right? And they put the line out. Here come the early bettors, the sharper kind of syndicate guys come in, start moving around a little bit, and then it hangs where it is. I mean, what did this open at this line? I mean, this was a 4.5. You know?
Yep, there's some love for Missouri here.
You know, and again, the love for that is, what is that based on how they played towards the end of last year? They had a nice little run.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. For me, I like A&M, and I think in one of the shows I said take A&M to win the SEC, basically because what are we going to take? Georgia or Alabama were the two top games, right? Or two top teams there, so everybody's going to be on those two guys no matter what. But I was like, it's a team. Go ahead.
You had some preseason action on the Detroit Tigers, I think, right?
Yeah.
So I saw someone had a ticket. Tigers to win it all plus 60,000. Put $1,000 on it.
Yeah, I got nothing like that. I was.
No, I know.
Make the playoffs.
How'd you like to be holding that ticket?
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah.
I had the playoffs to do playoffs wins for them and the Royals. I was pretty good on those two teams.
Yeah.
But then again, I said Miami Marlins over. I thought their pitching would be good, and they had no pitching all year. But yeah, the Tigers, nice little story. I gotta like them tomorrow. I mean, Scooble's going to be on the hill with them. Why, he gives you a shot. He gives you a shot to win.
They're playing the Guardians or the Yankees.
They got the Guardians. This is Holton.
Holton
the start. He's like a 2-inning kind of guy, But I think that's done for Detroit. I think you send out Scooble, let him go 5 or 6. He's better than anybody else you're sending out there for 5 innings. I don't know why. Let him go 5 and put the bullpen in. Because now, you put him out Monday. You can't use him anywhere else. He's going to be on short rest for what? The end of that series? Use him in this game. You could use him all you want. Maybe you bang BB early and it's 5-0 in the first and he goes 5-6 innings and it's 5-1. You could get to the bullpen. He always got to throw 80 pitches. Get him out of there.
Yeah.
What do we do? I guess they figure, you know what, we're here. Who cares? But I don't know. I would have went Scooby.
And the Yankees get the Royals, right?
Yep. Waka versus Cole. Again, I'll take. Listen, the Royals. For me, it's the Yankees. I'm not a Yankee lover. All right. Yeah. I mean, this team is a 2-man offense. You have half of a Jazz and a half of Stanton, who are kind of like a third player. You mix them together. One of them is going to be good. So maybe you got that third kind of piece. The lineup is not good. And this is the playoffs. This is not regular season where you can just go in club teams. I expect the Royals not to pitch to Soto and Judge or give them anything close to remotely hitting and let somebody behind them hit. Oh, we got Rizzo batting cleanup, Verdugo, Ben Wright. Like, this is who's protecting these two guys in the lineup. I will try to get that first guy out, pitch around Soto, pitch around Judge. If they chase, great. Maybe you get a ground out. You put him on base. I don't care. Stanton is a strikeout, double play, or a home run guy. 2 out of 3 is in my favor with that guy coming up. I'll take my chances.
Yep.
Let him swing away. And then I'm not letting Judge. And how can you let one of those two guys? They've hit 100 homers. They've driven up 200 something runs between the two of them. You're gonna let that guy come in and beat you. Just your fan base will be, why are you throwing the ball? Let him pitch around him. And I like the Royals bullpen better than the Yankee bullpen right now.
Yeah.
Padres series should be great. And I know we're getting off topic here with the baseball, but
it's all right. I like the Padres have the Brewers were eliminated by the Mets. So Padres and Dodgers, that's a rivalry. And then you got Mets and the
Phillies.
Phillies, yep. Mets and Phillies.
They're
Phillies
sending out Cody Senga.
The Phillies or the Mets?
The Mets are sending out Senga. The guy's pitched. He has been out all year.
He's been out all year. Yeah, so I thought. Okay.
Gotcha. All right. Whatever. If there's a big enough dog, I'll take him. I like I'll dog it up for why not? Why not?
All right. So Sean likes the dog. Missouri, Texas A&M. I'm on the under. The Scarlet Knights of Sean's old area, Piscataway, New Jersey, at Nebraska. Look, man. If this is at 6.5, I'm kind of all over Nebraska. I don't like it that much at 7.
Yeah, 7.
But Rutgers, they fall behind. They're not a team that come back. That defense is good on Rutgers. Especially their pass defense. You have Dylan Raiola, the Patrick Mahomes Jr. out there. But I'm both under 40 for me here. I'm like an undertaker today. I'm taking a lot of unders, but
I'm with you on the under because I think we got kind of similar teams, defense kind of teams.
Yep.
Nebraska's kickers miss field goals left and right. I think they missed like 5 already so far.
Yep.
To 2 guys. Rutgers going to run the ball. Had no
Yep.
right winning
Run
last
the ball, play defense. Yep.
And I think we were talking about last week. I think I said on the show I
Yep.
had Rutgers and the under in that spot.
Yep.
No right win in that one, covering to
Yep.
boot. But if you're going to run the ball pretty good, make a couple passes. Listen, Chiano's a good coach. Rule's a good coach. I mean, they got 2 guys.
Both defensive coaches.
This is going to be ugly. You're going to be a touchdown. I'll take
Yeah.
a touchdown. This is like a 3 or 4 point game. This is like 17, 14, 16, 10. Like it's going to be around that. You know, whoever gets a 20 is going to win the game. I don't think
if this goes over, it means there's a special teams or defensive touchdown.
Yeah, something crazy happens here. Or Rutgers, or somebody, I mean, they're just like busting runs left and right for huge gains. And I don't see like 23-20. I think this is definitely like 2017, like everything underneath that within like a 3 and 4 point range.
Yep.
20-60, like field goals, like 16-9. I don't know. Ugliness.
We got Swig Betts. Is that one of your guys there, Sean?
Swig, he pops in sometimes.
Foster's in here too.
I saw Foster. Swig is a pub guy. So,
and Tennessee
sports
at Arkansas. Look, that's a big home dog. The Razorbacks there, but man, Tennessee's going to be all over that in the backfield with that defensive line. I mean, they get pressure with their front 4, with Pierce and company, and then you have the Nico Yamalova show. We get Nico on the road here. 13.5 seems like a pretty tall number for Tennessee, but man, I can't lay. I mean, I don't trust Arkansas, Sean.
I kind of trust them because I think they're in a must-win mode. I think the coach has to win games because he's got Bobby Petrino breathing down his neck.
Yep.
Pittman's got Petrino combined. I'm like, oh, they brought in a guy who was beloved there as a head coach, and they had to get rid of him because of his nonsense that happened.
Yeah.
He's back. The team's responded, right? They've won games.
Yeah.
If you like Arkansas, again, you're getting 13.5. It's one of those, they just won by 14. I'm going to say Arkansas in the over, like some kind of wild game. I can see it be a wild kind of back and forth kind of game, but you're getting a nice hunky, chunky number here with Arkansas.
Yeah.
So I'll lean Razorbacks.
Yeah. And to me, it's too much numbers for a road team. I don't like playing that much for a road team.
Agree.
I like Tennessee's defense, and I like the quarterback, but it's a stay away for me. Let's move on to what like another Rose Bowl type game. But man, I'm going to take Michigan as a dog here. What do I got to lose?
Now listen, if you're taking
Washington
Michigan,
hasn't looked good.
Yeah, and yet here they are as a favorite here in this one. So it's like one of those spots where if you like Michigan, take Michigan. If you like Washington, take Washington. I mean, are you impressed with Michigan? I'm not all impressed. I know people are like, they're looking really good. They should crush them. Great defense. Well, the offense leaves a little bit to be desired in my eyes. And Washington has played really bad, but I like the coach. For me here, the total tells you all you need to know. It's going to be some kind of ugly game, a lot of running.
Yep. Michigan defense is good, though. Washington's played some good defense, too, though.
Just remember this line in September and even up to 2 weeks ago was Michigan 9 and a 51.5. So do with that as you will. 9 and 51, folks.
Yep.
Now Michigan is a dog. So
that's how look at their last few games. They barely got by Arkansas State, USC, and Minnesota the past 3 games.
They threw for 50 yards versus USC.
Yeah.
The vaunted defense allowed Minnesota, row the boat squad, to score 21 against them or whatever the hell they put up in the fourth quarter.
20,
all right, I'm not really running the back Michigan.
Washington went on the road, lost at Rutgers, like you said.
And they should have won. They out-yarded them, did everything they should have won to win that game.
They lost at home to Washington State, their bitter rival.
Yep.
It's a stay away for me. I would take. I just give me Michigan with 1.5 points.
It's a big revenge game from last year, apparently. That's the angle, folks. Right?
Yeah.
All those guys still playing.
All right. NFL.
Did they play last year? Was that a game?
Yeah, I think so. Hold on, let me get that.
Did they play in January?
Right. Yep, they sure did. All right, NFL action here on Sunday. This is week 5. There's a really early game, and it's in London, so it's a neutral site. the Vikings, man, their defense is really good, Sean. They're going to be blitzing. Aaron Rodgers knows how to beat the Vikings, from all those years in the Central. But man, I like the Vikings are just the better team. I also Justin Jefferson is quarterback proof. He's the best. Jefferson is the best player on the field in this game. What do you think here?
I agree. It's the Vikings. I mean, darn, you got a head coach and you have the offense coordinator.
Yep.
You see what they've done.
Great coaches.
What have they done? Last week you could say, "Oh, Darnold's throwing interceptions. He's playing bad." Dude, they're chucking. They're up 28-0. They're at this point they're forcing. They're doing some stupid stuff.
Yeah.
Don't be fooled by that final score.
Yep.
The Vikings are going to beat the Jets. Aaron, this is not Aaron Rodgers beating the Vikings of old. Aaron Rodgers. We've seen how have the Jets look this year offensively?
Terrible.
How have the Jets looked offensively this year?
Terrible.
All right.
What? I mean,
Jeff fans who want to go and want to blame it. Zach Wilson's terrible. Sure, Zach Wilson's problem. They told me Sam Darnold was the problem. They told me Geno Smith was the problem. Yep. Both of those guys are leading teams to wins in the NFL.
It's a mess.
And Zach Wilson, whenever he gets his shot, will lead teams to the NFL. They're not the problem. As I've said this a million times over there. Like, give the guy a shot. Nope. You wanted Aaron Rodgers. You want the Aaron Rodgers show. Good. Devontae Adams. Wonderful. Great. You'll be a nice wild card team and get bounced in the first round somewhere. Maybe they gel. I'm not taking them here. It's Vikings. Yep. Vikings started as a 1.5 point dog here. 1.5 point dog to a 2.5. I
want to take the under here too, just because it's in another country. But I can see the Vikings putting up 31 points.
I think these games have tended to go over here in this spot
in London, right?
At this field, yeah. I was doing a show with Victor King, and he brought up some numbers. The English, England and German favorites. It's favorites and overall unders, but this game here had been an over kind of matchup. So,
okay. You heard it here. Both like the Vikings -2.5. It's a good number. This might be the best game of this weekend. You got the Bills coming off a loss at the Texans, 1 point spread. Look, the Bills did not look good in their last game, Sean. It's they lost at Baltimore. They got pounded.
Yeah, but on Monday before that, Josh Allen's MVP. Look how great this team is.
Yeah,
Joe Brady.
look at it. Yep.
That's what happens when you win by 37.
Yep.
And then you go play a team who the last time you saw them at home, they were blowing a 10-point lead to the Raiders.
Yeah.
All right. And that you had a nice big lead on Dallas, but then also Dallas came back and nearly won the game at the end. So you had a clashing styles of a team that's been giving up fourth quarter leads.
Yeah.
And that's giving up the most, I think, leads of late, the last few years in the Ravens. This is not a one-off kind of thing with Baltimore. They've been prone to give up double-digit leads late and lose games. So that kind of worked out as it should be.
You can run on the Bills. I mean, you saw Derrick Henry blow them up last week.
But they were a little banged up. But listen, the Texans here, this game to me is a kind of like a Bills. Again, Houston fans, Bears fans get mad at me. Bears fans get mad for how I say you're going to be a bad team and you are a bad team. Texans fans, same thing. Oh, they got C.J. Stroud. How's C.J. Stroud look? They haven't scored more than 24 points all season. Yep. They've done it once. Yep. Where's this great offense? Oh, my goodness. C.J. Stroud. He's supposed to be the next guy, right? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Folks.
The best game, they've just barely squeaked by at Indianapolis. They scored
the league,
but the Colts aren't a good defense. Yeah.
No. The league adjusts. You learn a little bit. You might get lucky on a couple things, and that's kind of stuff you don't see catching some breaks.
Yep.
Running game's kind of banged up here. Although I do think this kind of be like an overplay, like a first half kind of over because the Bills played as bad as they have. And we've seen no Texans play really good offense lately.
Nope.
And the Bills are banged up in the middle. That's why the first play of the game, Henry goes for 80 or whatever because they got no linebackers, so he just busted. It's over. So I could see an over here, like right out of the gate.
Yeah, I have no thoughts on the side. I have no thoughts on the side.
I could flip a coin on the side. Like both teams are kind of not desperate. I mean, the Bills, you get beat up like that, you want to redeem yourself for sure.
Oh, yeah.
So I can see the Bills winning. Texans want it more because, hey, we got to prove that we're not the new kids on the block this year. We're favored to win our division. A lot of hype on our MVP kind of quarterback hype.
Yep.
But I would lean Bills and probably over in the first quarter, second quarter, first half kind of thing, like a lot of scoring to get the ball rolling here.
I like the over too as well. We got the Browns visiting the first place Commanders, 3-1. Sean, yeah, you kind of like this team before the season, and sure they there was a stretch where they didn't punt for 2 games. Just the offense, they're going for it on 4th down.
Can't complain if they
unreal. And then now the Browns kind of started off sluggish. Deshaun Watson was not in football shape. I don't think, whether it was like his accuracy or his conditioning, just not good. They got injuries. They don't have David Njoku, who's been like they need the easy button on their offense, and that's been Njoku across the middle and in the shallow, and then they haven't had Nick Chubb either.
So you mentioned him being out of shape. I mean, how aren't you in shape, bro? You missed the whole year. You haven't played well. And I gave him last year as kind of like you kind of get in shape kind of year. Now you're still not playing well. I mean, the team had every other quarterback come in and do stuff and win games. But here's an overreaction here. I got Washington plus 1.5 and -1 on the open on this game. So now we're at 3.5.
How could they be? Look, I don't understand how Cleveland could be a favorite in this game. They've lost 2 crappy teams, the Raiders and the Giants.
Yeah, but you still have a rookie quarterback, and the Browns are still thought of as a playoff kind of team, good defense, stuff like that. And you got the regression to what we have here. I mean, like Arizona last week, like anybody would say, listen, I took the Jets over Denver last week, right? They just won on the road with a quarterback, 7-point underdog Tampa, they win. You got Washington, again, big underdog on Monday Night Football, win on the road to Arizona, who's coming off a terrible, sloppy loss, right? They lost the game bad to, 23-10 or whatever, couldn't get the ball going against. So here, now that you come home, it's like, look at this team.
2 wins on the road, man.
Do you want to lay with a rookie QB and now we 3.5 versus a team that's everybody's kind of written off? No, I'm gonna at 3.5
plus 3.5.
At 3.5, I'm gonna lean to the Browns here a little bit. I'm not gonna go. I'd even say, like, you look at this total here.
I'm gonna lean over here. I like the over in this one.
It looks, but again,
it looks too easy, doesn't it?
Look at exactly. I mean, the Browns they've been anemic.
Yep.
20-16, 21-15. They lost those games. 18-13. Dallas, and I had Cleveland that week because I thought, hey,
they only put up 15 points against the Giants.
16, 15, 18, and 17.
Yeah, nothing. They've never got to 20 points.
All right, and Washington, 42, 38, 21, and 20 in the kids' first game on the road. Yeah. So how is this 40? No,
how are they getting to 40, you think, right? You like the under here.
This is a Browns at 3.5. Listen, at a pick 'em one, I'll take the home team. I'm like, oh, you know what? I'll take the rookies. Look pretty good in a low scoring game. I'll take the home team at a pick 'em.
Give me more than a field goal.
I'll take it. And what? Because you see the scores for Cleveland. So whatever the case may be, the defense, as much as it's not for being hurt and not as well, they're not giving. Dallas got them in a fluky game 1, which was bizarre, 33 points. Otherwise, we've seen no offense.
Yep. All right. For me, it's a stay away. I wouldn't touch this.
You don't got to bet it. You don't have to.
Yeah. We're up against the clock here with Willis Towers at 7. Let's hit the Bears game. It's an early game. We got Panthers +4 at the Bears. I know you like the Panthers +4. I can't do it. Give me the under in this game, 41.5. I think it's sloppy. It's ugly. The Bears are coming off a big win. Panthers, I don't think I just don't like their offense, even though Dalton had one good game against the Raiders, in Las Vegas. I
kind of like the over. I think it'll be a sloppy. Okay. I think it'll be a sloppy over. But I'm going to take the Panthers because, again, here we go with a rookie quarterback.
Yep.
And Bears fans, come on. You might think you should have more wins and losses. You could have easily lost game 1. I mean,
we could be 0-4 too.
Yeah, you could be 0-4. You could be 3-1. I get it. You're sort of there, but I think it's also teams kind of playing down to a bad team. All right. And now, and I said earlier about this team having between like 5 and like 7 or 8 wins. And I was worried about Green Bay. I was like, oh, maybe get some wins there. Now that Minnesota, that does not look like a Minnesota split right now. That you can lose both of those games in Minnesota.
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, you got Panthers here. Should you win? I don't know. I'd rather if you face a Bryce Young, sure. Dude,
Dalton, it's a little less certain.
I can't. He's 34 and can't get a starting job with these quarterbacks, which is bizarre. Unless the guy's like a serial killer we don't know about. I mean, right? I mean, he can't.
Why isn't he in Las Vegas or somewhere like that? That doesn't have a quarterback.
This is a nice veteran guy. He's the other guys are going to kind of respect his. Hey, I've won some games here, folks. So
yeah, I agree. This could be a close game. I mean, the Bears have won 7 in a row at home. I think
it's the spread. It's the spread.
Yep.
Forget about Bears are great.
Think.
So don't get upset that I take the Panthers. You got the Patriots. I think after this, you should have a win there.
Yeah, they're in London with the Jaguars. I think
Jaguars. Not an easy spot. It's a tough travel spot there.
In Europe.
And then you got the Patriots after that. So I mean, but again, Jaguars could be having a new. The bad news for you there is that the Jags have a new coach that day with Mac Jones quarterback, and you don't know what's going to happen that day.
Yeah.
The Jags could very well be having a new coach on Monday.
Well, Sean likes the over here. I think under. I don't know, but I mean,
it's when you have the quarterback play in the bad. It's either ugly, like you saw Bears Titans, something ridiculous.
A rookie quarterback for the Bears that doesn't really know what he's doing yet,
or he has a good game because the Panthers defense is suspect. You saw it against the Saints, trap at 40 on them, and all of a sudden this game is 34-30.
Yep,
shootout.
All right, Packers at the Rams. I like the Packers here. The Rams are so beat up, man. Jordan Love really lit it up last week, but the over might be a smart play here. I think there's going to be points.
I see. I cannot get this one from 47 to 48.5, 49. I cannot. How are the Rams scoring? They're so banged up. I know that they got Stats Stafford. They got a guy who could, they still have Tooch out well.
Defense is terrible, but I know it's best play is the Packers.
But the Packers also were blinded by they had a huge comeback.
Yep.
Whatever. Let's Packer this up and say, hey, we kind of run. Let's even if the Pack score 40, I'm in trouble here. If this is a typical Rams game, I don't see them scoring 13 points. So
look
30
at
to
the Rams.
13 gets me under.
They have not scored that much. The Rams. They had one. They put 27 on the 49ers, but that was a fluke game. Detroit, they put up 20 in a loss. They only scored 10 at Arizona.
I mean
41-10.
It's weird. But then it's again. The over. We saw a fluky. Let's look at the Green Bay.
Yep.
In Brazil, wild game.
Yep. Terrible field conditions.
16-10 with a backup, 30-14 with a backup, and then you got 7 off of a pick 6.
Yep.
And last week's game, it was 28-0.
Minnesota
28-0. You got a touchdown 10 seconds before the half.
Yep.
So no scoring in the third quarter, by the way, in that game. No scoring in the third quarter. So it wasn't like they were chipping away.
Yep.
Everything came late. It was 28-14. No, I'm not buying the offense.
Okay. You heard it here, folks.
It's a lot of points. It's a lot of points.
Yep.
27.
How about on the side? You lean Packers here, -3?
It looks so easy to take the Packers.
Doesn't it?
Looks so easy. That's just a pass for me. I'm not, no.
Pass. All right, let's head to your Cowboys, getting 2.5 at the Steelers. I like the Cowboys to bounce back here. I don't know why. I know the Steelers.
How are they favored? How the Steelers are favored here, folks?
Yeah,
exactly. How are they favored? Exactly. They have a defense, regardless. I don't care if it's Neil Lomax, Neil Anderson Cooper. It don't make a difference. Bubby Brister. I don't care who's quarterback of the Steelers. Justin Fields, your guy.
I don't know what to make of the Cowboys team, though.
They have a defense. Cowboys off. I've said from the beginning of the season, Tooch, right? I talked about this preseason. I said, offensive line's banged up. You got no running back. You got one wide receiver. What's changed? The offensive line is bad. You still have no running backs, and now Cooks is out. So that's going to be what? We got Ferguson and Lamb. I mean, Watt might have 6 sacks this game. This is an underplay, and I don't care. I'll even take the Steelers.
Yeah. Under. I love the under here. All right, you're taking the Steelers. All right, against your Cowboys. Look, man, the Chiefs are in trouble. I think here. I don't. Look, they have not put together a good game this season. I don't think. Do you think they played a good game this season?
They could be winless.
Yeah.
They could be. They're 4-0. They could be 0-4.
Right? Now he doesn't have his best receiver. Rashee Rice is out with that knee injury. He took out his own guy. Going for the knees was another player. Serves him right. Take him out. Give me the Chiefs. Give me the Saints plus the points.
Is Pacheco back? He's probably out still too, right?
No, he's out too. Yeah.
All right. Kareem Hunt's back.
You got Kareem Hunt, who's looked good.
Yeah, but he's
Travis
he's always
Kelce
banged
hasn't
up.
done anything. Is he
He's
in
old.
shape now? He's old.
This isn't right off the bat's an under, right?
Yep.
Because
Oh, yeah.
everybody's banged up.
Absolutely.
Kamara's banged up. Everybody's banged up. Everybody's hurt on
Absolutely.
this team.
Yep.
The
Under.
Chiefs play down to teams off the bat.
Yep.
The Baltimore toe game, you scored 27 points in 26 minutes because Baltimore turned the ball over twice on the wrong side of the field. So you got points there. Cincinnati could have lost that game.
Yep.
Atlanta, you should have lost. You tackled the guy in the end zone. And I had the Chiefs minus 3.5 that game. That should have been a loser. I marked it as a loss. I'm like, that's a loser. That's a loss.
Yeah.
And then in the Chargers, I was at San Diego. How'd they look there against that team? No.
They got lucky.
This is a Saints, and this is going to be, everybody's going to be on the Saints for this. That's why the lines come down from 6.5. What was it open at? I mean, I got New Orleans at 6.5. It's down to 5.5. It'll probably drop again. I get it's Mahomes, but the Chiefs, they don't care about covering.
Nope.
And I know everybody's waiting. Oh, they haven't played a good game. Well, I said this on the show. Hope in one hand, poop in the other for a good game. What do you do?
Why do you fills up faster?
Somehow
at Dallas, the Saints absolutely whipped them. The first two games, they put up over 40 points.
The crazy thing is the Chiefs are 3-1. The Saints are 3-1 ATS, and they haven't played good. So I get the whole they got to play good at home.
Yeah,
I think they play down. I mean,
you like the Saints plus the points and the under. I love the under in this game. I think it's an under.
Yep.
This is like a 19-13 game to me, or 19-17.
That'll be good. Something
like that, Whenever I see a number like 5.5, I always think the books don't know what to do with the game. They just throw this number. I was giving 5.5 but
remember it was 6.
I know it's not true. Yeah, it was 6.
This is why the opening number
I'm
matters.
just saying when it opens at 5.5, I'm saying.
Tooch, I tell people, right? I tell you, I tell Ann, I tell the chats, all the shows. The lines come out Wednesday. You don't got to bet them. Write them down. Write them down on Wednesday. Then on Sunday night, rewrite them down to see how they change based on what happened.
Absolutely.
Over on Sunday. But also on that Wednesday night or Thursday morning, whenever you're looking at them, just put a little dash next to something you like. So you don't get the influx of what everybody's going to be talking about on Monday and Tuesday or Wednesday or Friday, whenever you're watching some preview show. Have a thought first. Watch that Wednesday to Sunday night number change.
Yeah. Everybody. All right, let's give away some free plays. Here we go. Sean, Giant Seahawks. We didn't talk about this in under 42.5. All right, like it. Yeah, I mean, come on.
Run. Listen, we saw the Giants
run the shit out of the ball.
Extra rest from Thursday, fine. No neighbors, their best player out. Seattle, shorter week, right? You played Monday night. You looked terrible, gave up a ton of points. Hi, Thursday night, you're a 3-point underdog at home to the Niners. This is going to be a double dose of run, and more run from Seattle's running backs. Give me the under 42.
I agree. Yep. Here I am. I got the Indiana Hoosiers, who look great under Kurt Cignetti. Man, I don't think the books have caught up with Indiana. Northwestern's not that great of a team. They're playing a little tiny stadium. I don't think there's much of a home field advantage here.
None.
Give me Curtis Rourke and Cignetti's team. The defense is playing good for the Hoosiers. Minus
under
13,
unders 41, whatever it is. Yeah.
Minus 13.5. I think the Hoosiers win by 17. All right.
I like it.
We're out of here. Sean, we'll see you next week. We're up against it. We'll stick around for Willis Towers.
Go
Sean.
Panthers.
Bye-bye.